Before Natalie was killed, I was attempting to get them to put a stop to the things they were doing. Now, Natalie may not have meant me any personal harm by not telling the truth, but the fact is that people were physically harming me because she did not tell the truth, because she was embarrassed. I was trying to go to all my therapy appointments and find a safe place, save up my money before Natalie was killed. Save up my money so that I didn't have to be in a subservient position where people could victimize me. So I didn't have to be at places like Ken and Leah's. And I was trying to get a lawyer. Miss Peaches can verify that. Jeff Ritter can verify that. Kara Heller can verify that. But without the money for a lawyer, or a place where I can sit down and put all this together to even show a lawyer, I mean, I've literally just needed someone to sit down with me and look at the evidence. The police did everything in their power to prevent that from happening. And most of my friends said that they would and never made the time for it. Shannon Alvarado, as interested as she was in the case, the whole time I was there, she was busy talking about herself instead of taking a look at the evidence. I had the evidence right there she could have taken a look at. But no, she had to eat up all of my time with her stuff, her drama, herself. It's all about Shannon. And it was very difficult for me. I mean, you ask her, I was very well behaved at their place. Despite the fact that I was listening to them screaming every day. Like, I had to maintain my calm. I had to hold it in. I had to bottle it up. See, I knew that Shannon's was not the place for me within my second day there. It had already been too loud. Way too loud. But the problem is, I had to wait for Graham to send my stuff in the mail. Stuff that I paid him to send through the mail. Stuff that he had the money to send through the mail, and he just didn't. I had to make a lot of decisions based on people who didn't keep their word. People like Graham. People like Shannon. People who didn't keep their word. People who were supposed to take a look. People who told me that they would take a look. And then they just never made the time. Graham, he got paid quite a bit for doing that. See, the whole thing with me moving into Tabby's is that there was an agreement made between me and Tabby and also me and Graham. Is that they would write reports. Graham just needed to go along and be a witness. That's what he was paid for. That's why I contributed money to their rent, money to their beer, and money to their marijuana. That's why I took Graham to Chapel, Nebraska with me. I never stopped trying to help people, even after Desiree stole from me. When she called me up in crisis after that, I listened. I mean, this woman stole pretty much everything in my apartment in Sydney worth keeping. Anything worth any sort of money at all. Tabby and Graham, they just inherited all of my stuff. That's what they got out of not keeping their word. They got money for rent, they got money for weed, they got money for beer. They got my tools. Well, the tools that Joshua Eichelberger didn't sell for methamphetamines and booze of his own because he's an addict. And the thing is, while I was there, I did the same thing I did everywhere when nobody had time. When I'm stuck in an environment where people are screaming, I just get quiet and I do what I'm told. Maybe if I'm quiet and I do what I'm told, you'll eventually keep your word. But they didn't. I've had to do a lot of desperate things to try to force the police to take a look. What I needed is a safe place and somebody to understand my disabilities and help me to fight these bastards, help me to defend myself. But that's the point there, is that I didn't get to defend myself. And other people with a history of being, well, quite predatory towards me, they got away with it. The very people that I went to Jeff Ritter and Miss Peaches and Shauna Sinclair to try to get help, to stop these people from abusing me further. These people that I went to for help, like Joanna Taylor Smith, I went to for help. I was seeing Nicole Peralta in Nebraska to get help. When I moved to Canon Leah's, I was still going to see Nicole Peralta. When it got to the point where it was just too expensive and the drive was killing me, I mean, the whole drive there, I'm thinking about everything that's going on and what happens if I can't get somebody to listen. And since Tamara quit, I had to start over from ground zero. I had to start over with nothing, with the exception of the fact that I finally got disability. She helped me with that, and I was thankful for that. But after Tamara, I didn't have a caseworker, and I had to go somewhere. I needed to be able to see some loved ones who weren't negative all the time. Aunt B was always negative. And it's tough to deal with, you know? I mean, I'm needing help, and when I start talking, she starts talking about her and her bowel movements. I'm like, I listen to you a lot, Aunt B. A whole lot. I know a lot of things that I don't want to know. I needed help, and I went to people who were supposed to help. The people you're told to go to for help. And then there's the internet part. That's so overwhelming for me. I've tried and I've tried and I've tried. But it doesn't work out, and I get stressed out, and I have to step away from it. The problem with the incarceration, the problem with being falsely accused, the problem with public pretenders not doing their jobs is them not doing their jobs had a permanent effect on my life. The outcome of court dates that I wasn't allowed to go to was prevented from going to, or the lawyers just postponed it because they hadn't done their jobs and continued to postpone it. This all has a toll. This all eats up someone's fucking sanity. I mean, seriously. People are allowed to harass me. People are allowed to threaten my life. I'm not allowed to harass them back. I'm not allowed to threaten them back. See, here's the point. Danica Garner, she chose to harass me. She chose that. So did Shelley. So did Kara. These people chose to harass me. They chose to work with other people to harass me and to threaten me and to force me into a panic attack so they could say, see, he's dangerous. But the fact is, I was having a panic attack, and they know exactly how to do that. They know exactly how to push me into a meltdown, and they did so. This is something that they should have never been allowed to do, never should have had access to do, and only had that access because I had to trust someone when the police wouldn't take a look. When my friends had failed for an entire year before Natalie was dead, to actually stop and listen to what I was saying without talking over me and telling me pretty words. I mean, it's a sensitive fucking subject. So, let's imagine that you need somebody to take a look at the evidence so that you have a witness who is not considered mentally ill and won't be brushed off. But you can't get anybody to do that. You go to a place and you're like, you know, this person doesn't do meth and doesn't do heroin, and isn't yelling all the damn time, it'd probably be a pretty positive environment. Plus, they said they'll help, and you get there and they're on meth or they're on alcohol, and it's all about them and their problems, and you listen to this and you try to help them best you can with their problems, how they're asking. But then when you talk about your problems and the help that you need and the fact that they promised to help you how you needed, and they don't keep their word, and they say, well, you know, you just have to let it go. Well, with all due respect, all the stuff that I've been helping you out, instead of helping you out, I could have just said, oh, well, you just need to let it go. The thing is, these people took advantage of a disabled person because they wanted to get something out of it. And when they didn't get something out of it, they were mean. Or when they got out of it what they wanted, they were mean. When I had nothing left to give, they were mean. Yeah, I feel kicked in the teeth. There's a lot of situations, like with Miss Peaches, you know, when I tried to tell her what was going on before Natalie died, and she just kept snapping at me and telling me those same pretty words as everyone else. Yeah, that fucking got to me. That drove me fucking crazy. I need help. I can't go see my loved ones without having to worry about being threatened or assaulted, and if I defend myself, I'm the one who gets in trouble. And this is all before Natalie was killed. All because Natalie didn't want to tell her mom that I was invited to Virginia. That's pretty messed up. You know, we went out on my birthday. We went to Elliot's Coffee Grounds. We went out to the pier in Norfolk. We went to Virginia Beach. Those are 3 different places that we went to that I did not invite myself to. I was invited to. Natalie and Alicia both know that I didn't stalk anybody in Virginia. They just wanted their mom to be happy. They didn't want their mom to yell at them or snap at them or be mad at them. And I get that. I don't like it when my dad gets snappy and yells at me. But the point is, under the right conditions, I function extremely well. Under these conditions, I don't. When I can't go to anyone for help, and I'm expending resources in all these places for help that they promised, and I'm not allowed to be mad, I'm not allowed to be angry when everything that I put into it got thrown away by people being jerks, people being selfish, people not willing to keep their word. And there's a lot of stuff that people threw at me, like, you know, you did this and you did that. I'm like, you know, were you there? Were you there? With a lot of them, I let them know exactly how I felt, and they didn't want to hear that. I'm not allowed to have emotions. I just have to get over it. I needed help, and I have proved over and over again that all that time I was trying to get help, ending the abuse that I was going through. Abuse that started with the Boulder Police Department after I hurt my back. But because I haven't had a safe place, people have been able to do whatever they want to me. People have been able to railroad me like a homeless person. And the thing is, I wasn't homeless when Natalie died. I was living in a garage at Ken and Leah's house. And that's a lot different than homeless. It's a step up. And that environment there, even with Ken and Leah, after stealing my money, if I'd have been able to go back there, I had the resources there to do the things that I needed to do to prove what was going on. Instead of being harassed by the media, harassed by the Bollinger family, harassed by the Garner family, harassed by their friends, threatened and assaulted by their friends. And in many cases, using my fear of what Ted would do to them, what Ted is capable of, and what they told me that Ted is capable of, to try to make it look like Ted was doing something harmful to them. There's a lot of people who should have come forward. And I'm not going to stop speaking out about it. These people either needed to come forward or they needed to kill me. Because without them coming forward and telling the truth, I don't have a chance at a decent life. People kept telling me, you shouldn't care what other people think, but you see what happens when other people think. When they think without having all of the information, they make bad decisions. At no point in time should I have ever been dragged to a nuthatch or institution. What should have happened is the police should have sat down and taken a look at all of the things that were happening to me. Instead of blowing me off because I'm old and a male. I went through a lot more abuse than Natalie ever did. I went through a lot more abuse than her sister ever did. But that doesn't matter to them, does it? They just wanted to cover their drug habits. And guess what? That's out there for the whole world to see. When somebody is prevented from making a police report for any reason, then the police are breaking the law. The police are doing wrong. If a disabled person is dismissed by the police outright, no matter what, then somebody needs to go in with that disabled person so that they're actually heard, so that they're actually listened to, so the police don't hear only what they want to hear. And that's the point about getting those cameras, getting a court date. Those body cameras show that I'm telling the truth.